Toyota do not buy used car operations. Definitely not in a first world country. And within 60 days, we were the largest in the country. We had 5 offers. I didn't know who I was selling the business to until 2 hours before. The next time I saw my daughter, she was 3.5 years old.
I hate to just call out names, but like I saw for a long time Gary Vee talking about this stuff. To me, it's so obvious. I'm like, you are gonna get divorced. There ain't no way around this because you don't prioritize your wife. Like you cannot say my family and faith are this important, but like your actions don't reflect it. We would call that person a liar. Today, we got a special episode with a guy who built the biggest car buying platform in Australia. It got so big that they were doing over $500 million a year in revenue. He ended up selling the business for a 9-figure exit. And we're going to talk about how he built this company and why selling it wasn't everything it was cracked up to be. I've got Matt Wright. What's up, man?
How you doing, mate?
Dude, so you built a massive company, but the very first thing we talked about was like, you kind of went through the spiral after the sale of like, dude, it wasn't as fulfilling as you thought.
Yeah, complete lack of fulfillment, I think, which you hear so often, like it's not the destination, it's the journey. And on reflection, I look back at the years of building, particularly those early years, how fun it was, you know, waking up every day and just building this absolute monster. And then, you know, you start to be able to visualize what the destination looks like. What are we really capable of here? What does the exit look like? I always had an exit in mind. When I started the business, it was, you know, give it 10 years. I said 10 years at the start, give it 10 years and I'll look to exit. Ended up only being 6. And yeah, got to the end, complete lack of fulfillment. Learned a lot about myself at the end as well. You know, we were chatting about this before. Would I go back and change things? And I think it's very easy to say, yeah, sure, I'll go back, I'll change this, and I'll keep everything, all the good stuff I'll keep the same.
Yeah.
But that's not how it works. There's always going to be trade-offs. So yeah, look, big life lesson. Fulfillment's really the word that I guess sums it up. I had, you know, I sacrificed a lot. I probably lost things that a lot of people can relate with along the way. There was plenty of casualties to my journey. But look, I'm still only 34, so it's made me who I am now. I've identified it. I've got a clear vision of what the next 10 years should look like. I'm fully focused on it.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you know, we'll get into where things are at today, but you said at 34 years old, you started the business like 6, because you just exited this year. So.
Yeah. So I'm from the UK. I backpacked to Australia, had about $4,000 and literally a backpack at 4 days before my 21st birthday. Got to Australia from the UK. And
why'd you pick Australia, by the way? Like
Australia and the UK have a, you know, probably partly with this whole Commonwealth thing, but they've got there's visas that people from the UK can apply for that allow them to work in Australia. There's a pathway to go and travel and work and visit Australia. So it's something a lot of people do tend to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, intentions was to go for a year. I wasn't going anywhere in life. You know, I left school at 15. I mucked around a bit. I was in with the wrong crowd. I wasn't really going well, not really. I was not going anywhere. So I needed to do something that broke the cycle of where my life was at and where it was probably going. And I have a really good family as well. And so, you know, I had this feeling of just disappointing them a lot. And that started to become more and more, you know, prevalent in my late teens. So decided to go to Australia, went for a year. Sales jobs, much like the US, are just on fire over there. You can earn so much money. I remember my first sales job, I started earning 10 grand a fortnight. And this is crazy. You know, I came from a job where I was earning six to 800 a month, you know?
Yeah.
And so did a couple of sales jobs and then one popped up at a car buying company. So I thought, well, this is cool. You know, it's cars. I've never been in cars. And obviously combined sales, call center sales. I killed it in every sales job I'd been in the past. I was always the top performer. So I thought, look, let's give it a go. Ended up working for this really small car buying company and progressed through. It was a father and son ran business, progressed through their business and ended up running their business for about 5 years. And at that point, I really knew that this is going to be the industry where I can do something myself. I'd learned every facet of that business, top to bottom. Recruited a hell of a lot of good people there as well. So left there after 5 years. They actually exited as well, the father and son. I didn't get anything on that exit, which was interesting considering I ran the business pretty much on my own for them. But I still speak to them now, and I thank them for it as well. Went and started my own business. And said, 6 years. That was when I was 27. Started in November 19. 4 months later, COVID. So it was. It worked out okay for the car industry, but and everyone loves to remind me of that as well. But when you're 4 months into a business, you've got 10 or 15 staff, and COVID comes, and everyone thinks the world's about to just fall apart. It would have been so easy to just stop and just say, let's maybe come back to this in a year or two.
The car buying industry was nuts for those few years where there was no supply. Everything's way over MSRP. Used cars are selling for more than they were new. I'm like, this makes no sense.
Well, especially our business, we were the core business, or what was the core business when we founded it, was an online car buying company. So and within 60 days, we were the largest in the country, 60 days after starting. But we had the supply, like you said, and no one else did. So that's what really gave us a future.
How did you get such supply when no one else did during that time? Like for a brand new company, how'd you get these guys to be like, we'll give you supply. You haven't proven that you can go sell on this platform.
Yeah, so we bought direct off the consumer. That was our main model. Heavily advertised heavily through digital, so Google ads, paid ads, all that sort of stuff. Paid ads wasn't huge in Australia, particularly in the car industry. It's quite an archaic industry. So it was, in the UK, you've got, a huge online car buying company. In the US, there's similar, there's household names here where every single person in the country, everyone knows your CarMaxes, your Carvanas, all that. There isn't a household name in Australia. If you asked an everyday Australian, give me 2 ways to sell a car, they'll say, sell it to a dealership, sell it privately. And they won't know that the third option, which is sell it to a car buying company. So that was the problem that we looked to provide a solution for.
Were you just studying the American companies and the UK companies and saying like, well, dude, CarMax, Carvana,
UK originally, yes, because that's obviously where I'm from. They've got We Buy Any Car over there. And as COVID came in, no one's got supply. Our model was wholesale. We were and did to the very end wholesale to almost every good car dealership in Australia, even plenty of small guys. But a couple of months into COVID, that's where we sort of looked at this and we thought, shit, no one's got supply. So if we can capitalize on that end-to-end margin, then we've got something here. So that's when we opened up what then became later down the track got known as the Australian CarMax model. So, a big, huge warehouse with, we ended up having 1,500 cars under one roof.
Is that what they called you guys, the Australian CarMax?
It started to come in late, but then through the sale process, which was 18 months, it came up from multiple people. We had 5 offers, of which 2 went to the final 2 hours. I didn't know who I was selling the business to until 2 hours before I signed. But yeah, everyone at that point was referring to it as the CarMax model. So
in today's real estate market, it is really difficult to find cash flow, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. For this reason, I'm a huge fan of wholesaling real estate right now specifically. It's the strategy that I'm using in my real estate investing business, and it's what all of our students at Wealthy Investor are doing as well. And we give you everything that you need to start your wholesaling business and have the same exact system that I have. You get the motivated seller leads, the same softwares, the same systems, processes, and one-on-one coaching and support. We'll show you step by step how you can get started today and get your first deal in 30 days or less. So go to wealthyinvestor.com today. Got it. So,
which I'm not sure if I love, because CarMax aren't super profitable. They've got a great multiple, but
yeah,
I don't know how profitable they are, but we're extremely profitable, just to be clear.
So let's talk about that, right? You start with this idea, which has been proven out in other countries, but for whatever reason in Australia, nobody's doing it. And I'm excited about that because I was actually talking to you just before this about, expanding into Australia for M19, our golf group, because Australians love golf.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, it doesn't exist out there for sure. So I'm like, okay, if CarMax didn't exist, like what else is out in these other countries that we just take for granted that we all have in the US and whatever? Like it's never occurred to me that there's like such opportunity globally.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. I mean, we've spoke about it before. Australia, in terms of disposable income, is, I'm guessing, but I would say it's up there. It would be one of the top countries in the world for disposable income. Very strong economy. But yeah, the opportunity you see it all the time over there. The only problem with Australia is obviously the population, and that's what you've got to battle with. And we obviously built a business to 500 million a year, but we did it with a population of 24 million people.
Yeah,
which,
very small population.
when we put it into context, 500 million in any country is an unbelievable achievement. But there's 300 million people here. There's 20 in there.
What percentage of cars went through your platform? I mean, it's got to be a pretty high percentage of just overall cars.
Active market share at the end was 6 or 7%.
Yeah.
Which was huge. And bearing in mind physical presence, we were only located in one state. The opportunity was to expand into every other state, which was I guess a big reason why there was significant interest. It's funny, everyone says to me, why did you sell? Our year-on-year growth prior to the sale was 44%, 35%. So like when we talk about selling the business on and off, like this thing was going like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, which probably brings you on to your next question, which is, well, why do you sell? That's what everyone asks me. And I think anyone who's a business owner listening to this can probably relate, but that managing, I think at our peak we had 230, 240 staff. Like it gets so hard every day. You spend 80% of your time doing things that aren't buying or selling cars, like the stuff you love to do, making money.
You're babysitting people.
Yeah, babysitting people, problems. And you know what? It's always the smallest of problems that keep you awake at night. The big stuff's great because I'm like, yes, this is what I get out of bed for. A big problem that can cost millions or hundreds of thousands, love it. That's what I get out of bed for every day. But the shit that just shouldn't even matter and perhaps doesn't even matter, that's the stuff that just runs around your head and don't get to sleep until 2 a.m. and then back up at 4 to go and try and tackle it. So it took a toll. So I think freedom's probably
You're just kind of burnt out, would you say?
Completely burnt out, yeah. And it bothered me because that's not who I am. Like I was warned for years by people that knew me, whether it be friends, whether it be colleagues, whether it be my own family, that if you keep going the way you are, you'll burn out. Mate, I don't burn out. Like
yeah, I'm good.
I do not burn out, but that I started to I just did not enjoy it anymore. So I feel like there's a bigger purpose for me. There's a calling somewhere, which, whether it be helping people or whether it be helping people achieve or try to achieve what it is I did and made me so happy for so many years, or helping people navigate the trapdoors that I would say I actually fell through. I didn't navigate them. I stepped into every single one of them. So whatever it is, yeah, I just feel like there's something much bigger and better for me. So a lot of lessons learned.
I want to talk about some of those lessons, but like as you led up to the sale, I mean, you guys are on this astronomical growth.
Yeah.
What was your role in the company on a day-to-day basis?
So for the first couple of years, I was still wholesaling every single car myself. Like I was a control freak. I really did not grasp or understand the importance of hiring people in specific niches of the business that were better than me. Like I wanted to approve all the heavy payments. I wanted to look at expenses on a daily basis.
You're getting loan docs signed.
Yeah, and I encourage a lot of founders and business owners to do those things because it keeps you across your business. But there has to be a balance. There's a time you have to let go. So, and I didn't for a couple of years, but the minute I did, guess what happened? Bang, we're flying. So it started going up like a rocket ship. So that was a lesson I learned. And, at sale or at exit, I had, in my opinion, the best wholesaler in the country working for me. A kid that was 25 or 6 and, who I actually recruited for this other father and son business years before, and he'd never done it before, and he was just a gun. I had the best GM of buying, the best online online car buyer that there is in the country, managing the team of 35 buyers. I had the best sales manager, one of the best sales managers. There's plenty of them around, but in my opinion, one of the best. I just had the best people in each position. And look, for an 18-month sale process for a 9-figure exit, that's most people that have done that will know you're not in the business a lot for those 18 months when that's going on. Due diligence is 18 hours a day and you are buried. So now I look back on it, had I not have actually had those people, I wouldn't have been able to get through the sale process, regardless of how good it looked at the start. It would have just collapsed.
Yeah. So what else were you doing once you learned, okay, I got to hire people to do stuff? Then what became your role? Strategy.
I was still very hands-on. Look, there's no getting away from the fact that I would like to have control, but just holding people accountable every day. You know, the business now has, obviously has new owners, and being Toyota, it's a corporation. It's a very different leadership structure, I guess.
So Toyota was who bought it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now most people brush past this and they don't really think about this, but every single Toyota dealership you've driven past today or in this week, none of them are owned by Toyota. They're franchises. That's what Toyota do. Toyota do not buy used car operations. Definitely not in a first world country. Now, they do own plenty of used car operations in Africa, in the Caribbean, in Eastern Europe, in emerging markets. But to my knowledge, they have never bought a used car operation in the UK, in the US, or in Australia.
But they have new car stuff.
They're a supplier, so manufacturer supplier. Yeah. So I think we were one of the first businesses they've actually purchased in terms of used cars, which that's significant,
Yeah.
Most people hear just Toyota and they just think, oh yeah, Toyota, just we see them every day. But
did they change the name or anything?
No,
or
all the same. So cars
they just own it.
Yep.
Got it.
Bought it 100%, all done and dusted.
So you don't have any more earnout or anything?
There's no earnouts or anything. I've got an advisory agreement with them where I'll catch up with them on a weekly basis and just try and guide them through. To a business of that size, there's a lot of what would we do in this situation? How do we find this? So they've got a very good team there that takes care of it all. It's funny, when I was selling the business to them, they were so fixed on this advisory agreement. They're like, we need you for 24 hours a week for 2 years. And I'm like, look, you don't, but it's okay, whatever. So they've ended up buying the business, and I speak to these guys probably 30 to 40 minutes a week.
Yeah, they're just, it's not even.
But for them, it was, the best thing ever. Like that was their insurance policy, and now they've got into a business and realized, mate, this thing runs without me.
And then is their plan to scale to the physical locations now?
Yeah. So they're physical locations. They want to scale to all the other states. So we're in Queensland, which is where Brisbane is. Not a lot of people know this, but Brisbane's actually hosting the 2032 Olympics. So the city's just got billions and billions of infrastructure going up. A lot of good renos on golf courses as well.
There we go.
So, but yeah, you've got Sydney, you've got Melbourne, all the cities that people really know. It's funny that I mentioned before that I didn't know who I was selling it to until 2 hours before. There was another offer from a unicorn startup that was all over Southeast Asia that were looking to enter Australia, and their offer was probably the moment in my life where I look back on it and I'm super happy with the decision I made, but my life, it was at a fork. I could have went one way or another. The offer was, without giving it exact numbers, $25 to $30 million more than what I'd sold the business for, but it was stay on for 4 years and blow this thing up around Australia. So give us yourself for 4 years in the same capacity you've been running it for.
You're like, nah.
Yeah.
I mean, once you're getting 9 figures, it's like
nah, but 25 to 30 million's a lot. It gives you a lot more to think about,
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I definitely dodged the bullet there because I was
you were already burnt out.
I was done. Yeah.
And that was the due diligence probably burned you out even more.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this episode, but how would you like to be the one that I'm interviewing on this show? I'm looking for entrepreneurs who've got a great message to share, who have an inspiring story, and who can add value to the audience. So submit by going to wealthyway.com.
Yep.
Like, what are they doing during due diligence? Like, that is so much time. And
Well, we obviously went through the whole due diligence process with two. So firstly, it's doubled straight away. You've obviously got legal, you've got tax, you've got the accounting, which is the big one for a business like ours as well. It was all like modeling and that to it. People are, when someone's going to spend that much money, they are super, I mean, we hear stories all the time where people go and buy a business and the thing's gone in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
So people are very, very skeptical, particularly when you've got one operator, especially 33 years old, which, we can talk about the age in a bit as well, because that's something that sort of came at me multiple times on my journey. But they're looking at this one guy that at that age, which is pretty young, I would imagine, for an exit like that, and they're just looking and looking and looking. There's got to be something they're missing. They just don't believe it. So it almost, when you look back at it, it's almost too easy for us to have just walked in there and absolutely turned the industry on its head. Like, no one's ever done it. And I mean, I've got a lot of close friends that own dealership groups, that business owners in the industry. And I mean, they all kick themselves as well. They can't. It was just maybe I don't give myself enough credit, but to me, it seemed like such a simple model and such a simple solution for such a big problem. Like, why has no one done this?
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
Particularly when you've got inspiration overseas that you can go
just
and look
model
at.
it. Yeah,
correct. So
it also makes you wonder why does CarMax or whoever not just do it too?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, they interestingly, one of the early days offers was from an Australian franchise group, but their head office is based in Hawaii, and their CEO was actually the former COO of CarMax. So there was a lot of insight I got there. But yeah, it's, I guess, different markets. And
it makes me wonder too, like, because I seen Doug DeMuro, big YouTuber, he's got his Cars and Bids thing, and I was actually watching something recently. I was thinking in my head, I'm like, why is that necessary? I'm like, what's he doing that's different than CarMax or Carvana, or even like Manheim with the auctions and like Cars.com. I'm like, what problem is he solving?
But it's not always. There's parts of our business where we did just emulate other parts of the industry or other operations that were, and we just did the exact same thing. It's not always about solving the problem that doesn't exist. It's sometimes just about doing it better than everyone else that's currently doing it.
But what do you think he's doing better than? Does he have more cars? Does he just have more influence? Like, I'm
not so sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I just look at it and I'm like,
from the outside in, that's a tougher one, because it's obviously not a market I'm as familiar with either. But
right, because also too, it's like you're going to compete with behemoths.
Yeah,
those guys got billions.
And like the thing we're seeing with your CarMaxes and Carvanas is like they can burn money. Like,
they can burn money. They can lose money. They don't give a crap.
And money.
Carvana go build a tower of rotating cars for no reason.
Yeah,
I'm just like, what does this do?
Yeah, literally a vending machine for cars.
Yeah. To spend money for no reason. So you sell the business, dude, and you get this massive exit.
Yeah.
Like, why were you not fulfilled afterwards? Like, to me, it sounds like you worked so hard for 6 years to build this thing. You hit your goal and accomplished it. Obviously, you sacrificed a ton throughout the process. And I can only imagine in your mind, you're thinking, okay, once this is finally over, my life's going to get better.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I mean, there was certainly a lot on that journey to sell it. This is why people call it deal fatigue, as well as that journey of selling ramps up, and constantly you feel like you're getting closer. I mean, we were meant to have this deal done. We completed on the 31st of January. It was meant to complete in June last year, and it just kept kicking out. But you just, along that process, you just get that sick of, and this is where people that are buying businesses, they often have opportunity to get the price down, is you're just sitting there wanting it to be done, and you're just that fed up that you're like, oh. Like, honestly, if someone had said to me in June or July last year, we'll give you 10 million less and we'll get it done today.
You're like, yeah.
I would have said, yeah.
Yeah.
But like that option wasn't available for me. So, yeah, it's definitely, I guess the fulfillment for me came from, like I said, I had a great team around me, but the exit was, ultimately I owned 100% of the business. It was mine alone, I guess, in many senses, without trying to, discredit the people that helped me get there. I got to the end and I reflected on perhaps the stuff that I'd lost I say lost, probably the stuff I'd let slip over the last couple of years, whether it be personal, relationship, family. And yeah, there was just a big reflection piece for me where, I probably, it was a delayed reaction for many sort of events that had occurred, within the 2 years prior. And they all just hit me at once. So yeah, it was interesting. I write a book on it, to be honest.
Yeah. So what happened? I mean, we got connected from Andy Elliott, and he sends me this video. He's like, "Hey, Ryan, you got to meet my buddy. He's a great dude. He's out here for like a month just hanging out. He just sold his business. You should have him on the pod, and he's down to fly out whenever." And then obviously we were talking today, and you're like, "Yeah, dude." I was like, "Why are you hanging out with Andy for a month? Like, what are you guys doing?" Just, it's kind of an odd thing from Australia just to go hang.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Honestly, man, I'm just like trying to figure out like what's next and what to do. And, I'm young and I got all this money, but like still, my life wasn't what I wanted."
Yeah. I mean, look, for me, so if we go back to the start of the business, my story was pretty interesting. So I had my daughter in June. She was born in June 2019.
Okay.
Started my business 1st of November 2019. So 4 or 5 months later. My partner at the time, she's from the UK as well. So she took our daughter she was like, "Look, you're starting the business. It's going to be wild for the first few months. I'll take our daughter to go and meet my family and your family in the UK. And I'll be back end of Feb." I'm like, "Yeah, it sounds like a good idea." Pretty hard, but like I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. And I'm just like, "Look, sure, she's doing that to support me because she knows that if I can get this business off the ground, and all our problems start to become taken care of." So, we're working together. She goes to come back end of Feb. Her passport had less than 6 months left on it, which I was always the organised one, so it wouldn't have happened on my watch. But so she had to apply for a new passport. Passport comes end of March, goes to fly back end of March, COVID. She was not able to re-enter Australia because we were on visas at the time. And if I left Australia, I wouldn't be able to re-enter.
Wow.
So the next time I saw my daughter, she was 3.5 years old.
Wow.
So everyone...
Because of COVID.
Because of
and
COVID.
Visas.
Now, during that time, call it 6 months after that, we broke up because it was just very hard overseas.
There's so many things going on right there.
So fast forward to end of 22, start of 23, she's come over with my daughter. Get to see my daughter. She's now 3.5. Sure, FaceTime. Thank God for FaceTime. Go back 20 years ago, I don't know what I would have done, but I probably would have just left, I guess. But so she's come back. I've had no interest in pursuing a personal relationship with anyone during those 3 years because I've just been head down, focused on the business. So I put it to her. I said, "Look, come back. Let's get the family back together. I want my daughter next to me. I don't want you guys in the UK." So a bit of back and forth, and she agreed to that, and then we gave it a go. And about 9-10 months ago, it ended up breaking down again. And her and my daughter moved out and moved to moved around the corner. So still far better than the UK. But yeah, she moved out, and she's since met someone else, which is great for her. But again, like at the time, I'm just like, nah, I don't care. Like I'm focusing on the business, focusing on the exit as well. And getting to the end there, I really just that sort of being alone piece, like we were always meant to go on all these holidays, do all these trips together, take our daughter out of school for 6 months, get her homeschooled on the road and travel Europe and all that cool sort of stuff that everyone dreams of doing. And I'm sat there with, a fat bank account and an empty heart. So, that's that for me is when I think about if there's a few things that I can say, look, I'm the most relatable person ever. Like, I left school at 15. I got kicked out of another school even when I was earlier. I couldn't concentrate in school. I was a shit to my parents. I was hard to bring up. I didn't have any, guidance, or I had guidance, but I didn't have any drive or vision of where I wanted to go. Like, there's millions of people like me, but I think had I have heard someone tell me this story even just a year and a half ago, it would have made me think, hang on a minute. You always think the grass is greener. You never know what that other side looks like. And for me, it was a price to pay. So if there's ever anything that I would want people to take out of listening to me, meeting me, hearing my story, I can give them some off the bat business advice, but man, I'm not a genius. Like, I just woke up every day and just killed everyone. And then I went to bed and did it again the next day. I just
kept failing
everyone,
yeah.
But I'm not a genius, but more important than the business side to me is the price of stuff, what expense does it come at? And that's where I really struggled at the end. So that's probably where I'd really want people to, if you're in a shit relationship, or what you think is a shit relationship, or you're just out of touch with each other, you're out of love, it's been average for a few years, like, just sometimes just reset, just that it isn't always, roses on the other side. So for me, that was a big lesson learned. That's certainly something I would, like we said, would I go back and change it? Yeah, perhaps. But the reason it's only a perhaps and not a fuck yeah is because I also realized that there's trade-offs, and, it might come at the expense of something else. And had I have done that then, maybe I wouldn't have realized, and maybe this happens when I'm 40 years old, and then I have to learn. And 40 years old is a lot harder to learn than 34 years old. So
yeah.
I believe everything happens for a reason. So as hard as it was and painful as it is or was,
you guys know I love the game of golf, and that is why I started M19. It is a golf mastermind for entrepreneurs who are doing over 7 figures in their business and who want to go on bucket list golf trips together. We already have hundreds of members all across the country, and we've been to some of the best courses in the world, places like Pebble Beach, Pinehurst, Bandon Dunes, and many others. The course is the best place to do deals, make great relationships, and have fun. So go to mastermind19.com today. Yeah, I've thought about that with a lot of the mistakes in my life and things that didn't work out the way I thought. I think for me, I've had a few lessons with it. One is like, in different failures that lost money or caused reputational harm or anything else. I'm like, man, yeah, it sure would have been nice not to have to go through that. But because I went through that, I am who I am today. I'm smarter, more resilient, all those things, because, you only develop these kind of traits of perseverance when you go through hard things. So it's like, I wouldn't change anything in my life just for the fact of, hey, like, you got to learn these lessons.
Yeah, correct.
There is no other way around it.
Yeah. And like, that's, whenever I'm, when that part of when I start to address my personal life, look, I'm going to be a 10 times better partner or father or whatever it is. Look, I'm a good father, but like, what I mean, down the track, I'm going to be 10 times what I perhaps would have been otherwise, because I've learned the lesson. Just like when we go back to that father and son business, that I absolutely bled for this business. When we talked about staying awake at night, I was rolling around for their business, taking, the burden of all their pain and responsibility, and then to get nothing at the end of it. But I still talk to them now. I sit here now and I thank them for it, because if I had not have had that experience, I perhaps wouldn't be where I am. So
yeah, I mean, there's no way you can say you would have built this business without that experience.
Correct.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
The other thing I think about too, that it's still applicable to you, because we both have young kids. You said your daughter's 6?
6, going on 7, yeah.
Yeah, I've got 4 kids, 7 and under.
Yeah.
And I've just thought about it a lot, talking to entrepreneurs every week for the past 6 years on this podcast. And so I've gotten to meet entrepreneurs who have been great parents. I've gotten to meet entrepreneurs who have not been good parents. I've gotten to, and we get to see the whole lifespan of what happened with their career of kid. Their kids are older now, grown, whatever. I've gotten to see entrepreneurs who've been married for 40 years, entrepreneurs who've gotten divorced quick. And it's like, one thing I realize, and I'm just cognizant of now, is, there are certain stages of life that have windows, right? And windows happen in business, right? It's like, man, how long is there going to not be another CarMax of Australia?
Yeah.
Like, we got this window.
Yeah.
We got to kill it. There's windows of life with kids. By default, my kids are only going to be under my roof for 18 years. And after that, it's over. And granted, hopefully, obviously, we still have great relationship as they get older, but it's just, they're not going to be with me every single day, under my roof. And it's like, I think about that. I think about the window of time that I have with my wife. We've been married 12 years now, and like, we're in our 30s. We're in the prime of our life. Is the prime going to be in our 50s and 60s?
Yeah.
Probably not, Yeah. But then, by the time we're in our 50s and 60s, maybe we're empty nesters, and it's like doing different, like it's just a different window of life. And it's like having the ability to discern which is the most highest priority is the hard part, because on one hand, you may never get this opportunity again to grow this business the way that it could be. On the other hand, you're for sure not going to get the opportunity to have your daughter be 6 years old again, or to when, your daughter was a baby. Like, it's gone. It will never come back. And then your daughter for the next 12 years will, grow into an adult, and like that will for sure be gone forever. And the thing I keep coming back to is, and maybe this is from confidence or arrogance, but it's like, in my mind, I believe I'm so good at business that there's always a window.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro,
I agree with that.
Even if I miss this window because I'm busy playing with my kids and enjoying life and traveling, bro, I'll go kill whatever the next great idea is going to be. I have no limit of ideas.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, if I'm 50 or 60 or 70, there will be some new thing that I do that should ideally crush it. And so it's like, to me, I've like put business on the back burner of priorities, even though it is important. Like, I want to be great. I want to make money. But like, I can't, in my mind, I'm like, there is no wrapping around that. There's nothing I can do to have my kids young. So like, I have to build with that as the priority, and then business is second, even if it comes at the cost of, I could be building this great business, and man, it would be great if I could put all 18 hours a day into this and like take advantage of the window of opportunity that I have now. But like, to your point, there's a trade-off. And am I willing to like make the trade-off or not?
How do you think you identified that? Is it from the experiences of speaking to so many people that you've had this great insight that perhaps like I didn't have?
Right.
Or is it just, you just know? Just for me, it just always felt like there was going to be more time. Oh no, it's just this week's just going to be hard. Next week will be easier. Next minute, it's like, shit, it's been 5 years.
Exactly.
Lost it all, so.
Right. And we'll never get it back. There's no way to get it back. Whereas we can make money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we both have confidence that no matter what, I'll figure out a way to make money. So it's like, I came to the conclusion just from talking to so many guys over the years, but I also came to the conclusion with my son, my firstborn. He has special needs, and he spent 2 months in the NICU during COVID also.
Yeah.
He was born in 2019 as well.
Yeah.
And then he had brain surgery when he was 1 year old because he had a brain bleed. And we thought he was going to die multiple times. And I just remember praying, and I was like, God, if you just give him to me, like, I will never make my family secondary to business. I will never make you secondary to business. Like, I'm going to keep what, I have a Bible right here. I'm going to keep what the Bible says is the main things, right? Yep. There's God, there's your family, there's your relationships, there's money, but like, they flow in this order. And I made that deal back then, way before, I made a ton of money or anything else. And I was just like, and it served me well. And it's not like I've interviewed lots of guys who've sold businesses for a lot more money than me. Like, I'm by no means the most wealthy person in the world, but I'm like, bro, I have no regrets about time spent with family, or like, I'm still married. Our relationship's great. And I'm like, I have plenty of time to catch up money wise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To like different people I talk to and other stuff. And so I just try to like, I don't know, for me, think about it in the marathon of life of like, okay, there's going to be a season of life where I'm probably going to make a ton of money. And if I like look at the season of life of most great entrepreneurs, like when did they make their money? Most of them.
Look at Elon. I went through this the other day. Elon Musk. It's 150 million or something at 33 years. Like it's
I mean,
it is actually comparable.
Yeah, like his wealth is like in the last 5 years more than everything else he's ever done, period. And it's like Warren Buffett, it's the same way. Like most of these guys didn't even become millionaires until they're not Elon, but like others, you know, they don't become millionaires until they're in their 40s and then their 50s, something happens. And then their 60s and 70s is when it like really compounds. And I'm like, yeah, we just kind of live in the age of social media where it's like we should be doing more than we actually are.
I think you're extremely fortunate that you are able to clearly see that list of, you know, when we go from top to bottom, what's important in terms of priorities. Because, you know, it's very easy to reflect on it and look at that and say, well, of course, that you know, the order in which you just said it makes complete sense. And
everyone says it.
I'd 100% agree with it.
Yeah.
It just gets so convoluted when you're just in the thick of it, you know, and I think
we tell ourselves lives, like you said, where we're like, hey, I'm going to make an exception this one time and not make it the priority. And so I'm going to go and focus and do this thing and do this deal. But I think that's the thing when we compromise as business owners, because the thing I love about being an entrepreneur is we are 1000% in control of our schedule and our life. That's why we became entrepreneurs. We're like, I cannot work for somebody else. I want unlimited ability to make as much as I want, to work the hours I want. And, you know, for most entrepreneurs, that's working 24/7. You know, like I want to work my own schedule 24/7. But what we struggle with is we think that, I think we struggle with our own standards because we tell ourselves that these things are the priority, but then we don't hold it to a standard. We're like, oh, well, if a bigger opportunity presents itself, then I will make these a lower priority, you know?
Yeah.
And you do that once, you do it twice, and then it becomes a pattern.
Yeah.
That's why, like, even for us, I've had these conversations with my wife and everything else, especially as we keep having more kids and everything else. I'm like, I made this conversation. I said this 6 years ago, way before any of this. I said, look, I'm not working more than 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and I'm not working the weekends. I don't give a crap what it costs me financially. I don't care if I can't be the biggest social media guy. I don't care. I'm not going to compete in that game with the guys who are willing to do those things. It doesn't matter to me. And since then, like, I've still built a pretty good thing doing that. And who knows what it will become in the years ahead, because my belief, not that I'm really competing with anyone, but my belief is that if I just keep running that same marathon the next 30 years
and remain consistent,
and I just stay consistent when everyone else is sprinting and going like this and crashing and fall, you know, whatever, I just think something else just gets you. Like, I think divorce cuts your wealth in half. Regret destroys you. Addiction destroys you. And if you just like, those things are like inevitable on the path of entrepreneurship. If you neglect all the others, like the typical mindset of an entrepreneur, it's all inevitable. You know, I saw a thing like, recently, and then like I hate to just call out names, but like I saw for a long time Gary Vee talking about this stuff. I'm like, ain't no way you can do that the way you're describing it and still be married. And you know, you had to get a divorce. And I've just seen it over and over again with all these guys who get a divorce. And I'm just like, to me, it's so obvious. I'm like, you are going to get divorced. There ain't no way around this because you don't prioritize your wife. Like, you cannot say, my family and faith are this important, but like your actions don't reflect it. We would call that person a liar.
Yeah.
You know, you would just say you just speak words, but you're, you know, whatever. And like, I look at it and I'm just like, huh, you know,
I think like that. Yeah. Now I think about it, if you asked anyone around me, they would have always said exactly what you just said there. They would have said you were always going to be that person. But
It's inevitable. You just watch actions every day and you're like, this is the inevitable conclusion to
the
these
problem
actions.
I had is no one told me that.
Yeah.
And so like when I'm sitting here speaking about it now, like
It was so obvious in hindsight.
Correct. Yeah.
So I guess and this is why I bring up all that story, because I'm like, okay, if one thing I can say from this interview, because you brought it up beforehand of like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is why I'm here. This is the journey. What I can say is your daughter's still only 6.
Yeah.
And
correct.
so like, yeah, your relationship with your partner may never happen again, whatever. But man, you got so much time with her to like just be there, be present. You have money. You get to do whatever you want now.
Yeah.
Like I tell this story. I had a buddy, his name's Tommy Mello. Great guy. He's out in Arizona too, billionaire, and built the biggest garage door company like in the world.
You're right.
And he was speaking at my event and we were talking at WealthCon. We were talking about golf. And he's like, yeah, dude, I think I'm going to start playing golf more and stuff. Like, I want to make time for it. And I was like, Tommy, dude, you're a billionaire. What do you mean you want to make time for it? Like, at what point in the world do you have enough time? Like, I don't understand. Like, in my mind, I'm like, I have time for it. I'm not a billionaire. We both get to do whatever we want. We own our own. Last time I checked, you don't have a boss. I don't have a boss.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're going to make time for it? And he's like, well, the business is, I'm like, yeah, but you're a billionaire. I don't understand how you don't have time, like in my mind. And he's like, dude, you know what? You're right. Like it just, for whatever reason, it just never occurred to me that like I could just do that.
Because it's never enough for him as well.
It's never enough, right? Because we just want more. We want to grow. We want to get to the next level and all that stuff. And what it tells me is not like a lack of awareness. It's just like, it's a lack of knowing what your actual priorities are.
Correct.
Because like at the end of the day, golf is not that important to most people, right? Yeah. Like growing your business is a bigger priority than playing golf, which totally fine. But on one hand, if you're like, hey, I do want to play more golf. Hey, I do want to go on more vacations. Hey, I want to like spend more time with my kids. And if you're an entrepreneur who's already made a lot of money, then I'll be like, all right, let's like actually look at the priorities here because
there's no excuse.
Yeah, money's not the problem here. And you're a great entrepreneur, so you know how to delegate. You know how to, like, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So now we have a bigger issue of, well, actually these things that you say you want to do, they're not actually things you want to do. And that's hard for people to hear. And I'm not talking about Tommy in this example or anything. I'm just saying when I talk to entrepreneurs where they have the skills, they have the money, and they say these other things are important, but they don't do them still, then I'm like, well, they're just not important.
Yeah, you're not making them important. That's the problem.
They're just not.
Yeah.
They're aspirations, but they're not important. Yeah. If you say one thing and you don't do it, then it tells me it's not important.
I agree.
So I guess that the next stage for you is like, dude, you've learned these lessons. You're still super young.
Yeah.
What's next?
So I've just launched a founder program called Founder Finds Future. I'm investing $1 million into 3 founders. So
wow.
$1 million each of local currency.
Oh, so $3 million.
Yeah. One in Australia, one in the UK, one in the US, obviously connected to Australia and the UK, and US is certainly the market I want to be in. So that will run for 3 months. We've had 400 or 500 applications already.
You're going to invest all the $1 million in 3 months, or how's that going to work?
No,
or are you going to pick the
Yeah, so we're going to shortlist it down to 10 people in each market, in each country, continent, whatever. And then we're going to go around, interview them, travel around to their
make content about it.
Yeah, document the whole thing.
Yeah.
Shortlist the 10 down to 3 and then down to a winner, hopefully by the end of the year. Before the end of the year. And then that's 3 businesses started.
Are you going to be a partner in their business?
Yeah. So there'll be equity. It'll obviously be dependent on each business.
Right.
We toyed with the idea of, just saying it's a fixed amount, but there's just so many nuances to different industries, different businesses.
Right.
And I guess looked at, obviously there's a big fulfillment piece there. Like I will 100%, do $1 billion by the time I'm 40. Like that's something I've always said. It's something I've always been very bullish on.
Yep.
It probably does come across as arrogance. It's absolutely not. It is sheer confidence.
I think it's math too.
Yeah.
I mean, you have such a big nest egg now, like compounding it the next 6 years.
Yeah, correct.
It's not.
But I don't want to. But what I don't want to do is do it alone. So I'm looking to. I really want to. This isn't just an angel investor that's going to chuck someone $1 million and ask for a weekly Teams tour. I'm going to be in these businesses, active, helping scale them using what I learned, leveraging what I learned, scaling the business to 500 million, dealing with the headaches, the problems, all the shit that comes with it, but also on reflection, all the joy that came with it, and making sure I keep these people grounded as well in the moment so that they can enjoy the journey that, maybe I could have enjoyed more. So that's exciting. I don't know who the person is. I don't know what the business is, what the industry will be. It just can't be cars because I want to non-compete, which I'm perfectly okay with that.
Have you ever done any industry beyond cars? You've been in it like your whole life?
No, I've worked in a couple, but no, not really. I genuinely believe, like my dad has had multiple businesses. He was my mentor for many years. And I genuinely believe like those business fundamentals, like they're all transferable to multiple industries.
For sure.
But at the same time, I'm by no means an expert. And that's why I want to partner with founders that are an expert in their space, their field. So
yeah, they're going to be experts in the thing, and you'll be expert in the business and the capital and the marketing and the hiring and all that.
So that's exciting. I mean, and any young entrepreneur, it's open to anyone between the age of 21 to 35.
Is it startups only?
So it can be early stage startups, or it can be an idea in a notebook. We're considering both. There's obviously pros and cons to either.
Do you have a way for people to apply right now?
Yeah, so go to founderfindsfuture.com.
Founder Fund Future.
Founder Finds Future.
Oh, founderfindsfuture.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the full process is on there, 21 to 35 years old.
Dang it. I was gonna apply, but I'm 37. I was just going to be like,
okay.
all right, I got a bunch of ideas, dude. We'll start them up.
You're doing okay, bro. So yeah, no, that'll be cool. I'm really, really. I mean, some of the ideas that have come through already are just wild. But
do you personally want like a brand new innovative idea, or what if it's like a boring business?
I am literally the poster boy for going to a boring industry, boring business, and shake things up. So. It will never be boring because of who I am and who this person will have to be in order to get the mill. So, no, not at all. Some of the most boring businesses are the best businesses as well. So
you should get on. Do they have a Shark Tank in Australia?
They do have a Shark Tank. Very different though. Like when we think about Shark Tank, it's 30, 40, 100K for X percent. Like this is obviously a significant amount of money, but it's not. Again, I'm going to be on the journey with them, in the business with them.
Yeah. You're not just writing a check.
But we also want to document what happens after, like so how many times do you watch Shark Tank and then you Google, what happened to that business?
Nothing.
Yeah, and even nothing happens, but you need to go and find out. Like this, we'll then have 3 businesses in 3 different countries. There'll be content that there and follow the journey. Like these 3 businesses will succeed, and the 3 people who are chosen in each country will become multi-millionaires. Like I can promise them that because I'm so hungry. But yeah, it's just about finding the right person. But as we know, it's going to come down to the person, and that's the only thing.
It's going to be hard to like film in 3 different countries. I'm thinking of the logistics. I'm like, dang, you got to go to Australia. You got to go to UK, the US. It's a lot of travel.
It is a lot of travel. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, excited. So it'll all come down to the person. I mean, at the end of the day, I bumped into Dean Graziosi when I was with Andy one day. And, one thing he said, which we all know, but it's so true, is you would rather an A founder with a C business than a C founder with an A business.
Right.
All day long. So,
you're always betting on the person.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, no, excited.
So that's part of your focus. You're going to do that. Anything else you got planned? You said you're going to write a book?
Yeah, I could write a book. I don't know if I will. No, look, just focusing on my personal brand as well. That's the new currency. We all know it.
Yeah, like what's in it for a guy like you? Like you've already made money, you've got business skills. You could probably just go start things, invest in things. Yeah. Why try and build a brand?
I like being out of my comfort zone, and I've went from feeling to being, the biggest fish in a pond to being the smallest fish in a lake right now with this, social media stuff, being, doing content. It's something completely foreign to me, but puts me completely out of my comfort zone. And that you've got to continue to, I'm a big believer, you have to continue to keep yourself or put yourself or expose yourself to scenarios where you're completely uncomfortable in life. Like you can never just get too comfortable. And so that's a big reason for me.
What do you think it is that you got to improve on for the next stage of life to hit your goals? Whether it's be a billionaire, a better dad, a better partner.
Yeah, I think in order to achieve, let's go with a financial and business goal of $1 billion, there's actually nothing that I need to improve on in the business side. What I need to do is restore that balance to my life, which is personal. Faith, something which I'm taking a lot more seriously now. Now that I'm in the States, now that I've been around people, I've had many times on my journey where something shouldn't have happened, and it did. I'll give you an example. When I was wrapped up with multiple sales jobs, this was prior to applying for this job at this car buying company that I ended up running. I was going over to my sister's wedding in New Zealand. My dad was visiting. We were flying over together. And Australia there's no unemployment. If you don't have a job in Australia, you don't want a job. Like there's no unemployment. So I was like, I don't need to apply for a job. I'll apply when I get back from New Zealand and whatever, it'll be fine. And so I was spending time with my dad, making the most of that. Went to his hotel one day that he was staying at, and he kept me waiting in the lobby for 15 minutes, and I hate waiting. I'm the most impatient person ever. So I'm like, oh, I feel so unproductive. So I got my phone out. I thought, shit, you know what? I'll just apply for jobs then whilst I'm sat here. So I've applied for this car buying job. And had he not have kept me waiting, and my dad is the most organized person on the planet. It's probably one of the only times in life he's kept me waiting and he's not been punctual. But had he not have kept me waiting, I wouldn't have applied for the job, which then ended up getting me into cars, propelling me into this industry, that ended up enhancing all of my skills that were, crucial for then building this business. And it all started with the one guy who I could count on being punctual to any event in life, being late once. And then, so yeah, going back to the faith part, I reflect, which, I've had plenty of time to reflect in the last 4 or 5 months. There's a couple of instances like that where I'm like, there's something more to this than just, that shit doesn't happen like that. That's crazy. And it can't happen 3 or 4 times in a row, So, that's something I want to really put some work into, and actually, I just develop a relationship, with God. So that obviously personal side. I think once I restore balance, in answer to your question, I actually don't need to do anything on the business side. It will all just happen, but I have to restore balance in my life. So that's what I'm going to do.
We call that is faith. And that, hey, if I just trust in God and get this right, everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're like, there's not really a plan. Like I just know my business skills and what we have will be enough. And I don't know how these founders will necessarily go and, all this stuff, but I have faith that it'll all work out. And that's kind of like the same thing, even for me, when I say like, hey, my kids, I know I only got them from this time frame. I'm basically saying I have enough faith that, hey, even if I don't make all the money today and all this stuff, like I have faith that, hey, in my 50s and my 60s, it'll all be fine. Like I'll have developed enough, I'll have enough skills, whatever. It'll be completely fine. And I think, obviously that's just like faith in the financial side that we're talking, but like it transcends everything that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Like, I got faith that I'm going to be a good dad. I'm going to be a good husband. I have faith that, God's going to protect me and all these things. And does it mean that life's going to be easy or, no, it doesn't mean that life's going to be guaranteed. No, it doesn't mean that I'm guaranteed to hit the outcomes that I want. None of it's guaranteed, but like at the end of the day, what faith does guarantee is that despite the situation, despite what's happening today, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, I think, I agree. And I think for me as well, it's just, I want to hold myself to a higher standard. And, with that comes accountability, so I want to be held accountable for the standards I set. And whilst my standards cannot be beaten in business, they can absolutely be there's the only way is up when it comes to everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to have that.
Where are you gonna live? You think you're gonna stay in Australia or this next stage of growth?
Yeah. So look, obviously, I've my daughter's in Australia, so that's obviously the most important thing to me. But I will likely spend 6 months a year in the US. I would say, and just see what happens.
You thinking about moving in Phoenix, or what are you thinking?
Not sure yet.
Vegas is nice.
Vegas is okay. Yeah, Vegas is good. I'm actually back in Vegas. I'm done the Conor McGregor fight, so
there we go.
That'll be interesting. I don't know. Look, West Coast certainly is where I want to be. At LA, a couple of hours north of LA and whatnot. It's all pretty nice around there. So
yeah,
somewhere West Coast. It's obviously a much easier flight from Australia to the West Coast, as you just
how long is that flight?
12 hours.
Okay.
Versus 18 to New York, and 24, 25 to the UK. So, yeah.
Dang, Australia's 24 hours to the UK.
24 flight time, so it's usually 25 and a half, yeah.
Because all the layovers.
Yeah,
dang, I did not know.
Dubai, yeah.
I did not know it was that far. I don't know. I got to work on my geography. How far is it from Dubai?
First 14 hours to Dubai, and then it's 8 hours to... I don't know why I'm looking over there. You guys don't know.
You don't know.
And then 8 hours to the UK. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I actually learned something new the other day. So, with our M19 golf group, they're like, hey, we need to go on a trip to Scotland. And I'm like, we for sure need to go to Scotland.
Yeah.
That's
good
the
courses.
hub, And they're like, it's not that far. I'm like, it's not that far, dude. Like, it's pretty far for me. I'm like, I've never even been to Europe, but it's got to be pretty far.
I've never been to Europe.
No.
Really?
I need to go. Because in my mind, I think it's far. And then like our East Coast people are like, no, it's like a 4 or 5 hour flight. I'm like, what? It's quicker for you guys to go to Scotland than it is for me to go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
I was like, I did not know it was that close.
I think they're exaggerating 4 or 5 hours, but it's definitely, it's 7 or 8 hours. Yeah, it's easy. It's an easy flight.
Yeah, from the East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, dang, that's really not bad at all for you guys. Like, but going to Hawaii, then I asked them, like, have any of you guys ever been to Hawaii? They're like, no.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense. Like, Hawaii is far from you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Australia is beautiful. But what's Australians' relationship with, like, New Zealand? Because I remember playing them when I was playing in the World Baseball Classic. We played New Zealand. They did their little haka and stuff. Yeah. Tried to intimidate us.
Yeah, they're very so like sister countries almost, aren't they? They are very different. Now, I'd get crucified for saying that, but they're I guess it's like England and Scotland, really similar sort of relationship.
How's their economy compared to Australia's?
It's very unpopulated. New Zealand, it's not. You've got 2 islands, North Island and South Island. South Island's just not. It's very spread out. It's certainly in automotive. There's not much opportunity there at all. So
a lot of New Zealand people come to Australia for business.
Yeah, and they don't need visas either, so they can just
go up in there.
But yeah, New Zealand's very very, very small population wise.
What have you learned now being in the U.S. for a little bit? Like, what's the biggest thing that you've picked up while being here?
Environment and just the energy in this country, like whether it's, getting around someone who's done well, supporting someone who's trying to better themselves, whatever it may be, everyone is so, look, there's haters everywhere, but everyone is so supportive. It's really eye-opening when you come here. Like, there's a crazy energy in the US. Australian, not so much. Australia's a great country, but yeah, it's just, there's a different caliber of, the talent pool in America is it's crazy.
Yeah, I've heard people say that too about like Dubai, like the energy there with entrepreneurs is like crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you get all the best ones from the UK, just leave and go to Dubai. I mean, obviously tax being a pretty big driver for most of them, but Australia's pretty tough on taxes.
What is their tax system?
Oh, they've got a capital, the CGT, the capital gains tax they had a 50% discount on that ran from the 90s. So essentially got a 50% discount on I think it was 47% or something.
When you say discount, you're talking about that's the tax rate. That's what they take.
Yeah, so on cap gain, so it was 47%, but you get a 50% discount on that. So it goes to, whatever it ends up being.
So it was only 20-some%?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they've just so their tax year runs to June 30th. They've just abolished that for the first time. This was brought in the mid 90s, and they've just abolished it for the first time. And it's mayhem. If you watch any content or social media from Australian entrepreneurs,
well, they basically just doubled the tax rate.
Yeah, correct. It's just literally every entrepreneur is, working out how they can now leave Australia and go and do it overseas. So
before that, then it was pretty good in the 20s.
Yeah, it was good. Looked like anything,
because the US is 40%.
Yeah, you're
for high
blended
earners.
with federal tax and state tax, right? So
right.
I bet. Look, like anything, I was, when we talked about my dad, I was exceptionally fortunate with the fact that I had a seasoned businessman, in his now 70s, that was able to guide me, particularly when setting the business up and starting the business. Like, the structure side is so important. So to anyone that is looking to start a business, like, do not fly past that structure part, because it's crazy. Like, I'll tell you off air how much it benefited me, but it's to set things up correctly and to get the right advice, irrespective of, I know, price is relevant to people, but paying an extra 10 grand or an extra 20 grand for a bit of advice right at the start, it's so hard to go back in time and undo stuff and restructure stuff. So to set stuff up from the word go correctly is so important. And ultimately, we all start businesses, or everyone should be starting a business with, the idea that I'm going to become a multi-millionaire from this business. No one starts a business to just get by. So, okay, well,
you'd be surprised, but yeah, it shouldn't be the case.
But if that's what you're going to do, then how important is it that you structure things correctly, so you can optimize on, your tax and just everything sort of in line, whether it be asset protection, whatever it may be. So that is something that I am amazed how many people, and perhaps it's just ignorance on my part because I had my dad there, but I'm surprised at how many people,
they have no clue.
They run past it, and it's crazy. So
you're going to talk about a lot of these things on your social media and as you grow it?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of lessons that, I've learned, but I just want to just keep going, get into the next thing. It's so easy to slow down. I met Jim Grover at at Limitless at the weekend, and the thing he said to me was, like, what's next is you have to have a next.
Yeah.
You can't, like, if you don't have a next, you're in trouble. And luckily I have a next with this founder program, but one thing resonate when he said that, it resonated with me because I have felt like I have started to slow down a bit over the last couple of months, even though I'm doing, this social media side and I'm, getting all the back end set up for this founder program.
Yeah.
I'm not in something every day that's, actively, engaging me. So, super important for me is to just stay relevant, but also stay active.
Yeah. I think for me, I kind of like, maybe that's why it's never happening. God knows. But dude, if I got like $100 million check, I'm pretty sure I'd be chilling. And not that I would stop working.
But you think you would be chilling?
I think I would be chilling. But like, I would still do stuff. Just like you're doing with the Founders Fund. Like, it's not like I would do zero. Like, I would still do a podcast. Yeah. I would still, run my nonprofit. I'd still probably be doing a lot. But I guess, like, in my mind, I would be less innovative. Like, I'd be like, I would look at like a big hard problem that I know could be, and I'd be like, do I really need to put in the effort to, like, that seems like a lot of work. I could just kind of take it easy and let my money compound and, I don't know. But that's the battle that you're basically talking about.
Yeah, look, all those sorts of things like investing the money wisely and all that. I mean, there's plenty been allocated to stocks and shares to compound. I went off script though and did go a bit wild on the old SpaceX. So
you went on the IPO.
That's been pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know what my thoughts are on that moving forward though. But yeah, no, look, there's definitely nest eggs put away.
Yeah.
To compound, you know.
Just never touch them. Just let them do their thing.
Well, the thing is as well, at 34 years old, like you know, I've been blessed with the position I'm at because 30 years of compounding is a long time.
That's my point, right? Like you're guaranteed to make $1 billion at this age with that much money. If you did nothing, it will guarantee it'll be at $1 billion. Just on math.
Yeah.
That's kind of the hard part is like, once you know that, you're like, now the desire to like make money goes not away, but it's like less important.
Yeah, but it's positive because that desire, you know, that the assurances that are now there have allowed me to
take more risk,
focus my attention on helping other people, you know, whether it's backing founders, whether it's going and doing something at no, you know, for free, you know, whether it's going and doing a not-for-profit, whatever it may be, because I don't have that, you know, there's not that pressure of needing to earn or needing, you know, money there. So
every day we're like looking at the freaking payroll and, you know, are we going to make it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That pressure goes away. You can make better decisions.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, bro, man, I appreciate you stopping by and being vulnerable and sharing your story and just everything else, because I think a lot of times when people see a very successful person, they're like, oh, bro, this guy's got it all figured out. This guy's never had to go through hard things. And so for you to share just what's going on, even like right now in the moment, as you're figuring it out, is like super awesome and inspiring. And I think it's going to help a lot of people. Because like you said, I mean, a lot of people can relate to you at some point of your journey and what they're going through. So I think it's going to help a ton of people. And I'm excited to watch the Founders Fund. We'll link to that, by the way, guys. If you want to apply, it's Founder
Finds Future.
Founder Finds Future.com. FFF. We will link to it down below, and you guys can apply. You might be getting $1 million from our boy right here if you got a really good idea and you're between the ages of 21 to 35. So we'll link to that, and bro, we'll be doing more. Hopefully seeing you soon.
Yeah, Dan. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, we'll catch you later. Peace.